way to do it. Well, good afternoon, Arizona Rattler fans. Rattler Nation, welcome into the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show with head coach Kevin Guy. My name is Floyd Simmons. Good afternoon, everybody. As we get into talking about where the Rattlers find themselves now after 11 games completed this season, let's bring on the coach. There he is, Kevin Guy. Coach, welcome. Good afternoon. And how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on, Floyd?
Well, talking football, that's for sure. And you know, it's been a little rough stretch for the Rattlers. And for the first time this season, for a complete week anyway, the Rattlers find themselves in second position in the Western Conference. And it comes after that exciting but disappointing loss that happened in Prescott Valley this past weekend. So, coaches, as we dive into that, let's just jump off right there and ask you, how's the team doing? How are you doing? And let's talk about the aftermath of what was a great game, but a disappointing loss Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think we could have started, any better. In the game, we wanted to start fast. We opening kickoff, we run it back. Harrington ran it back for a touchdown. Had some great blocking on that return. And then defensively, we kicked off to them, and we came out right away and got a stop and had a chance to go down and jump on them 14-0. And we drove down the field and stalled, and penalties played a factor in that. And I was very disappointed in the amount of penalties that we had, and at the times of the game, the timing of the penalties, that affected, obviously some drives, and we wound up missing a field goal, and then here we go. And then it was back and forth, the rest of the game. Defensively, we stopped them, 6 times. The difference in those 6 stops was their kicker, made 3 field goals out of those 6 stops. So, obviously their kicker executed. We missed our field goal. And in the end, that's that played a factor in the final score, and offensively, you can't win when you turn the ball over, and at the end of the day, me, and this coaching staff, we've won a lot of games and championships together, and we're the first ones to look in the mirror if we feel like we didn't put the players in a position to win. But we got to execute. We got to hang on to the ball, and we had the ball with a minute to go, with a 4-point lead. They had 2 timeouts. All we had to do was get positive yards, and the game was over. And we fumbled. We fumbled twice early in the game. That killed drives and gave them points. I mean, I don't know how many points they scored off turnovers, but they certainly got some short fields, early in the game. So we got nobody to look at in the mirror. I thought that again. I am, and I talked to the team about this. I'm starting to question. We practice situations more than anybody. That is something that we've taken a lot of pride in our organization to be able to execute. And we get in and we just big games like this, and it's like we mentally melt, and we got to get mentally tougher in those situations. And the game couldn't have been laid out for us any better. And turnovers will kill you. And you go look back at the games that we lost, this year, and turnovers has played a factor in those 3 games.
Talking with head coach Kevin Guy on the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show, everybody. Final score on Saturday was 37-34. The Northern Arizona Wranglers get that win, and they move a full game in front in the standings in the Western Conference as we head into the final third of the season here. In that game, Coach, these 2 defenses, wow. I mean, ranked number 1 and number 2 in the league, and there's a reason why. They showed up, and by the way, the offenses are good. Okay, so both teams have good, strong offenses. But defense was, I thought, the key. Defense wins championships at so many levels in so many different forms of this game, for football. And I thought two great defensive performances. You just talked about your team with the half a dozen stops that you were able to get on Saturday.
Yeah, well, when you look at it, Drew was 7 of 12 passing, and his last two passes of the game were called incomplete. We felt like Braxton came up with that ball and a fan took it out of his hands, but that was the call on the field. We were out of timeouts. We couldn't challenge it. But going into those last two passes of the game, I mean, Drew was 7 of 10, 70%. That's winning football. We held their quarterback on the game 11 to 25, 11 of 25. Okay. That's, I don't know, 43%, whatever that is. When you play, and hold an opposing quarterback in that percentage range, you should win the game. Again, fumbles. I'm looking at the drive charts, and you look at it right here, and it's we missed a field goal, fumble, half, TD, fumble. So how did we get stopped? 3 out of 4 times we got stopped, we turned the ball over. It wasn't that we got stopped on downs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look at their possessions, and it was, we stopped them on downs. They made a field goal. They made a field goal. We stopped them on downs, and they missed a field goal. So we got them into those 4th downs and put it in their hands. They had to make those decisions whether they wanted to go for it on 4th down or kick the field goal. And looking at it, Coach Moss made the right decisions for his team. But the difference was he had the confidence to make those decisions because his kicker is making those field goals. Okay. And, so we got to get better at situational football.
So you've made mention of the turnovers. Clearly, maybe the key factor of the game were the turnovers. It seemed like right there in that final moment when you got the ball after their kick, ended up with great field position. It just felt like the momentum was there. The moment was there. The energy was there. Everything was laid out for the Rattlers to close it out, get a final score. And then, of course, the fumble, the turnover that ended the hope right there. But I'll tell you, just watching the game, I felt like the Rattlers are going to win this game when that field position was laid out and you had plenty of time left at that moment on the clock.
Yeah. Well, we had the ball. I mean, we had 2 guys on the first play was wide open, and we missed it, and so that happens. That's part of playing football. But we were out of timeouts, so I think Drew took the shot on the post because we were out of timeouts. But looking back at it, I think the 9 down the wall and the dig route coming across the field were both open, and that's a teaching moment. It's a learning moment. We'll get to see that. And then the second one, we felt like Braxton caught that ball, and Braxton felt like he caught that ball, but the call didn't go our way. That's going to happen. You're in this business long enough. There's going to be some calls that don't go your way, but it's frustrating. But no matter what the ref called on the field, he could have called a catch. He could have called, or he did call incomplete. And if you could challenge it, I think whatever was called on the field was going to stand because, when you went to the camera angles, you couldn't tell, how that play finished.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a tough ending, a disappointing ending for sure. And a punctuation mark at this point of the season for the league. A great matchup, a great game. And it did, in the end, whether the Rattlers won the game or not, it turned into a great game for the fans. I thought the fans loved it. I thought there was a lot of energy there in Prescott Valley. A number of Rattlers fans made that trip, and from all accounts that I heard, they were welcomed. They were treated well. It just felt like a great atmosphere and a great game in the league on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean that's great, but I mean we're not looking for a kumbaya moment. I mean we're playing, we're competitors. If you look, I'd say half of the fans that were there were Rattler fans. That drove up for the game, and it was exciting atmosphere. So, I think the Wranglers fans, also showed up and was very loud in that, in the building. And you got to give their coaching staff credit. You got to give their players credit. And at the end of the day, I told the team I felt like they wanted it more than we did, and I was very straightforward with the players after the game on my feelings. Turnovers is something that you can control, okay, and it's a lack of focus, a lack of attention to detail, especially when we're talking about fumbles, okay, and it's hurt us in multiple games this year. So we got to get that cleaned up, and we got to get mentally tougher. We got to get mentally tougher, and it just seems like anytime we get in that kind of environment, we got some emotional guys on locker. Football's an emotional game. I get it, but we have to work on controlling our emotions. Okay, and I've watched Northern Arizona a couple of times this year, 2 or 3 times, and there's been some games that's come right down to the wire, and their players seem to finish. And so you got to give them credit; they seem to finish, and you got to give Coach Moss credit, and we'll see them again. We'll see them again here in a few weeks, and we'll see what the outcome is.
They will be coming to Phoenix in a couple of weeks, and another chance to see what this Northern Arizona Wranglers team is made of. Meanwhile, the Rattlers in second place now in the Western Conference, a 9-3 record. The last 2 losses, a combined total of 6 points in those losses, and even the first one, even that loss to Tucson, Coach, it was an 11-point difference, but your team was in it in the final moment. So none of these games have gotten away from the Rattlers. You haven't been blown out in any of them, and you've your team is proving they're still top of the league.
Floyd, I say good. I say good to all of the above. Okay, we need to have some adversity. The Rattlers is always sitting at the top of the standings. We go to the playoffs. Some years we've won it, some years we haven't. But when we have won the championship is when we haven't been in first place. When we've been sitting in that second or third spot, and we've had some adversity during the season, and we had to work through it, and we had to push some buttons as coaches, and have some good teaching moments, and I'm fine with it. And, I'm not hitting any panic buttons, but is there things that we got to get corrected? Absolutely, but I think it's that heavy lies the crown sort of thing when you're sitting in that. Let's see if some of these other teams can. We've been sitting up there for decades. Okay, so let's see if some of these other teams can handle it for a few weeks and see what happens.
Well, Coach, it doesn't get any easier in the next weeks that follow, and that begins this coming Saturday. You get to travel to Albuquerque, take on the Duke City Gladiators. There's a team right there in fourth place right now, holding down that last playoff spot, fighting for their playoff lives. They've got a lot to play for, I think, on Saturday against the Rattlers, and they have been performing well. So they've won. They had a 4-game winning streak going before they lost. That included a win over Massachusetts, by the way, and they lost by 1 to a very good Frisco team this past weekend. So it seems like Duke City, it just doesn't get any easier as you get ready to play in Albuquerque this coming Saturday.
Well, one of the things I talk to players about all the time is, this league, since the Arizona Rattlers joined it in 2017, we have helped and played a major part in helping this league grow, and that's brought in stronger ownerships, brought in better coaches, recruiting's gotten better. It's not the same league that we joined in 2017. And listen, I told them the other night, hey, look, we've lost the last 2 championship games, and we're vulnerable. Teams are not going to come in and lay down just because they see us wearing the Rattler jerseys. Okay, we're going to get everybody's best game. Okay, when we play, we've earned that right. We've earned that right because we've been successful for so long. But teams are going to get up for us, and we're going to get their best game. And we got to have a sense of urgency. We're playing a team this week in Duke City that I feel they're going to have a sense of urgency too, because they're fighting for that playoff spot. And so this is our last road game of the year. Hopefully we can finish out strong and reclaim the number one seed and have it run through the desert the first couple of rounds before we have an opportunity or can have an opportunity to go play in Vegas. So, we still control our own destiny. That's why there's no reason to hit panic buttons. We don't need anybody else's help. But all we can do is focus on Duke City right now. And, we need to have a sense of urgency. We need to come together and start playing together as a team. And if we do that, then I like our chances.
Well, Duke City knows how to put the ball in the air, and they have made a fine recovery with the new quarterback there in Albuquerque this point of the season, and that's going to represent a very significant challenge for your Rattlers defense coming up on the weekend. So, Coach, we do want to wish you the best. I know that you guys are busy preparing for that. Is it going well right now? Are you having a good – here it is Tuesday. What's the week of practice been like so far as you've gotten it rolling?
Well, just because we lost, I don't change the schedule. Our plan was after, Northern Arizona, we came back. We brought them in Sunday morning. We watched the film, made our corrections, had some, very long conversations of what we need to do to improve and get better as a product. I gave them, the rest of the Sunday afternoon off. They had Monday off. We came in today. Again, we went back to film and weights. We studied Duke City, today and, started putting in the game plan. But really, I think our attitude moving forward is we need to concentrate more on us than we do who we're playing. And, at the end of the day, again, you go back and look at these drives, the stops were fumbles. Those are things that we have control over, attention to detail. Okay. And, so the focus needs to be more on us, and we need to get those things cleaned up and see if we can improve.
All right, Coach. Well, we wish you the best this week in preparation for a game on Saturday, and that you might have success against the Gladiators and pick up that 10th win, get into double figures there, and get that drive to the playoffs rolling the right way.
Well, appreciate it, Floyd. We'll see you next week.
You got it. Coach Kevin Guy there, the Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show. And don't forget that the Rattlers do play this Saturday in Albuquerque against the Duke City Gladiators. You can check that game out on the Indoor Football League's YouTube channel. Until next time, folks, have an awesome afternoon. We'll see you on the next Arizona Rattlers Coaches Show. And so long for now.